Hey guys, what's good? Welcome back to JDB Selects for the final time, more than likely final time for season 2025. Thanks again for an incredible year. The channel continues to grow year on year. We did close to 500,000 views this year, near on 4,000 new subscribers, thousands of hours worth of watch time. So your support has continued to be amazing. So thank you for that. Again, you guys are the reason why I keep trucking along. So much love. Now, before we do reveal the winners for the 2025 tipping comp and do my tips and predictions for the first week of the finals, I do just want to give our free Discord server, the Oceania Oracle, a free plug. Again, some incredible slips posted over the weekend. None more so than this Hall of Fame worthy 76-1 same game multi on the Panthers and Dragons game. Certainly they did cash out, but nonetheless, a great 65-1 win. If you want to get access to all of these bets, my own personal tips, data sets, all that good stuff for completely free, you can hit the link in the video description. I'll also leave a pinned comment with an invite to the server. Again, it's such a cool place to watch footy. The banter in there is top notch, second to none, and we do want to try and make ourselves the biggest Oceania Discord when it comes to things like rugby league, American sports, and all that good stuff. So your support goes a long way. Now, just a bit of housekeeping and wrapping up my personal season before we do touch on the top 3 finishes in the tipping comp. And I wrapped up the season with a 5 out of 8 week. The Storm obviously went down to the Broncos on Thursday night, losing Jerome Hughes and Ryan Pappenhausen in the process. I was always going to take my Warriors against the Sea Eagles and DCE's farewell. And the Doggies went down to the Sharks in another disappointing performance where their attack looked a little bit lackluster, but nonetheless they have finished in the top 4 and are certainly deserving of that spot. That does leave me at just under 60% for the season, 121 out of 208 tips. I personally haven't had a great season, and maybe that's coincided a wee bit with my disinterest in making some of these videos, but thank you guys again for sticking by me. I hope you did better. Now let's talk about 3 people who certainly did. Drum roll, please. Alright, not that it's a surprise because if you're in the tipping comp, you can see, but in 3rd place this season, Manawatu Turbos, who came out of nowhere, seemingly out of nowhere, to claim that 3rd spot. He was last year's winners if you are a long-term and regular viewer, so congrats Manawatu Turbo, a great effort. In 2nd place, we do have M. Lincoln, who was there pretty much from the get-go and maintained his position in the top of the ladder for most of the year, only to be pipped towards the end of the season. But again, congratulations, M. Lincoln, on coming 2nd. A great season for you. And last, but certainly not least, taking out the JDB Selects Footy Tips Comp for season 2025, Jordan Hill. Beautiful profile pic there, mate. Very, very, classy image there. But congratulations, bro. You were unreal all season. I think you're in the top, 100 odd of the entire ESPN Footy Tips site. So an incredible result, a great year of tipping. What can I say, mate? Other than well done, congratulations. You have won 2 tickets to this year's grand final. I will contact all the winners via message on the ESPN Footy app, so please keep an eye out for that. We'll then strike up a conversation over email and make sure all the prizes get sorted out. But again, congrats Manawatu Turbo, congrats M. Lincoln, and congrats Jordan Hill. You are this year's top 3. Good luck for next season if we do run it back. Here are my tips and predictions for finals week 1 for the last time. Alright, the finals kick off on Friday night this week, and we do start with the Melbourne Storm taking on the Canterbury Bankstown Bulldogs at Amy Park. And if we do start first with the Storm, who fell 30 points to 14 to the Brisbane Broncos, hampered by 13 errors and conceding 9 penalties, stalling any momentum and their limited attacking chances. Melbourne's night was compounded by a season-ending arm injury to halfback Jerome Hughes early in his return, disrupting their spine and forcing major reshuffles for the finals. Things went from bad to worse when Nelson Asafa-Solomona spent time in the sin bin, with his ill discipline also scrubbing him out for the remainder of the season. And to make matters worse, Ryan Pappenhausen picked up a late game head knock, which will mean he is forced to sit out this week due to the Cat 1 HIA ruling. It was the first time the Storm had lost back-to-back games since 2003, and boy, it's hard to see them dropping another one on the bounce. And if we take a look at the teams list for the Storm, while they will be without Pappenhausen, Hughes, and Nass, the inclusion of Harry Grant from suspension cannot be understated. And as for the Bulldogs, they fell 24-6 to the Cronulla Sharks, closing the regular season with yet another disappointing loss against a top 4 contender. The Doggies trailed 18-0 at halftime after conceding tries to Billy Burns, Jesse Ramian and Blake Brayley, struggling to repel Cronulla's direct attacking raids in that opening half. Their attack was once again lackluster and quite honestly disjointed, which wasn't helped by the loss of Bronson Xerri early on and Viliami Kikau being forced from the field for a head injury assessment. I honestly don't know what to make of Canterbury anymore. I really do feel they've shot themselves in the foot, and it's hard to see them coming right this season, but I certainly do think they have the building blocks to be a serious contender for the next few seasons. I just personally don't think it's going to happen in 2025. And if you take a look at the teams list for the Doggies, Bronson and Marcelo won't be named this week, while Jake Carraz is fighting to get his ankle right, so could certainly be a surprise inclusion. Looking at the two sides head-to-head, the Storm, they have won 9 of the last 11 meetings against the Bulldogs. The Storm have also won 4 of the last 5 at Amy Park. Ooh, one of a few very good finals matchups this week. You've got the Storm, who will be, wanting to put in a massive performance after losing back-to-back games, but they've lost their main halfback, their main fullback, and one of their big enforcers. And you've got the Doggies, on the other hand, who, have just fallen off a cliff, let's be honest. Their attack has dropped away, their defense has fallen, their middle forwards are getting worked over. This is a bit of a coin flip for me. I genuinely wouldn't be surprised either way, but I am going to take the Storm at home by 1 to 12 points. I think the inclusion of Harry Grant, again, cannot be understated. They've got some class across the park and have proved multiple times this season that even without Jerome Hughes, they can still put on a bit of a score. And any side with Munster and Grant is going to be a problem, so I'm going to take the Storm 1 to 12. Moving now to what should be an absolute belter. Over here in Auckland at Go Media Stadium, we've got the Warriors taking on the Panthers. And if we start first with the Warriors, they fell 27-26 to the Manly Sea Eagles, stumbling into the playoffs after a last-minute DCU field goal decided the match. Captain James Fisher-Harris scored a remarkable try within the opening 9 seconds, but momentum quickly shifted away as the Warriors lost Rocco Berry and Eddie Eremia-Tuiava to serious injuries, disrupting their backline and their overall structure. Despite falling behind 14-0 at the break, the Warriors rallied with tries to Dallin Martinez-Lesniak, Transnickel Klukstad and Sam Healy, with Tana Boyd keeping the side in touch. I've got to be honest though, I do have some serious concerns for the Warriors' attack during the finals without Luke Metcalf, but the beautiful thing about sport is that anything can and will happen. Now, in terms of teams list for the Warriors, Wade Egan and Jackson Ford will return for the Kiwis this week, while both Rocco Berry and Eddie Eremia-Tuiava are unlikely to return this season. Jacob Laban and Ali Liatawa are both fighting to overcome injuries and would both be huge inclusions to their attack. And as for the Panthers, they ended their regular season with a commanding 40-20 victory over the St. George Illawarra Dragons at WINS Stadium, securing 7th place on the ladder. Nathan Cleary was instrumental for Penrith returning from a rest to lead a dynamic offense that scored 7 tries. While it wasn't the most polished performance, it once again put the rest of the competition on notice with their sights set on becoming the first team to win the competition from outside the top 4, and trust me, if anyone can do it, it would be this Penrith dynasty. No new injuries against the Saints either, so the Panthers will be fielding a full strength 1 to 17. Looking at the two sides head-to-head, the Panthers, they have won 16 of the last 20 games against the Warriors, but both sides, however, have won 3 games apiece in their last 6 meetings at Mount Smart. Do I need to tip? Do I need to say anything? I'm Warriors, 13 plus. Come on, boys, let's do it. If we're gonna win it all, it starts this weekend. Alright, and the final game on Saturday has the Cronulla Sharks taking on the Sydney Roosters at Portaloo Stadium in the Shire. And if we do start first with Cronulla, they secured a solid 24-6 victory over the Canterbury Bulldogs at Accor Stadium, marking an important win as they push towards this home semi-final spot. Cronulla played like they had a point to prove and masterfully interrupted the Dogs' rhythm. I've been really impressed by the impact their bench middle forwards have made in recent weeks, really turning the tide in their side's favour and helping unlock their strong back 5. The Sharks finished the match with an impressive 95% completion rate and cemented themselves as one of the dark horses in September this season. Great news for Sharks and their fans too, with Nico Hines being cleared to play after initially being charged by the match review committee. Certainly strange circumstances. Personally, I completely agree it wasn't a hip drop and he should have played. However, this seems a bit funky. This seems like they're making the rules up as they go along to ensure the Sharks aren't robbed of a decent chance, which again is the right call, but whether the right process has been followed is a different story. And as for the Roosters, they delivered a dominant performance to defeat arch rivals South Sydney 36-6 in their final round clash to secure a statement win ahead of the finals. The Roosters scored 6 tries to 1, underlining their dynamic attack and keeping the Rabbitohs to a late single try, with standout moments from Nawak Nawaqanitawase contributing to the big margin. I know the Raiders have been hailed as the most exciting team of the season, and that's probably fair when you do look across the full 27 weeks, but I don't think it's hyperbole to say the Roosters on their day are the most exciting attacking team, and despite all their flaws, I can guarantee no one in that top 8 are excited that they've qualified ahead of the likes of the Dolphins or the Sea Eagles. Great news for the Roosters too, as they picked up no new injuries against Souths, so we'll be fielding a strong, full strength 1-17 this week. Looking at the two sides head to head, the Roosters, they have won 9 of the last 12 games against the Sharks. They met twice in the regular season, with both sides winning a game apiece. Ooh, another really tough game to tip. You've got, on one hand, the Sharks, who are probably known for a bit more of a defensive, tough game, up against the high-flying Roosters, who can score tries from anywhere, especially deep in their own end. It should be an absolute cracker and probably an underrated game this week. But I am going to lean the way of the Sydney Roosters here by 1-12 points. I think they've just got a bit more X factor, a bit more oomph about them. They can produce something out of nothing. You know, it should be a tight game early on, but something, you know, a moment of magic from Teddy, Nawaqanitawase, Toya, Tupou. You know, they've just got Walker. They've just got that little bit of an extra gear, I think. So I'm going to take the Chookies here by 1-12 points. All right, moving now to the final game of the finals in week 1, and it should be another banger too. This is a great game. The Canberra Raiders taking on the Brisbane Broncos at GIO Stadium. And if we do start first with the Raiders, who fielded a new-look side after securing the minor premiership, but instead fell heavily to the Dolphins 62-24 in a high-scoring game at KO Stadium. Despite relatively strong defensive efforts early on, the Raiders conceded multiple tries to the Dolphins, and I think everyone knows what can't happen if you concede 50 points. You can't win the comp. You can't read too much into that performance though, given the players missing, but certainly sometimes the personnel changes can disrupt the rhythm, so we'll just have to wait and see how the Raiders respond this weekend. The Raiders, they also aren't expecting any new players back this week outside of, the ones that were rested, so we'll be fielding a full-strength side. And as for the Broncos, they secured a crucial 30-14 point victory over the Storm at Suncorp Stadium, locking in 4th place and the all-important home final. Reece Walsh was outstanding, scoring 2 tries, kicking 7 goals, amassing over 130 run meters, 5 tackle breaks, a try assist, and a 40-20 kick, and finished with 22 points, clearly finding a significant performance enhancement from his new hydration plan. It was a strong performance against the Storm, a side that they've struggled to beat at Suncorp over the past decade, and now sets them up for a huge finals campaign. And in terms of teams list for the Broncos, Shibasaki should return to the fold this week. Adam Reynolds is also a chance to return to the side after battling through that hamstring injury. Looking at the two sides head to head, both sides have won 5 meetings in the last 10 overall. However, the Raiders, they have won 4 of the past 5 meetings at GIO Stadium. And I am going to back the Raiders here by 1-12 points. They are the feel-good story of the competition, and rightfully so. I think their forward pack can match it with the Broncos. They've got that speed and X factor to match it with the outside backs for the Bronx. It's a really, the more I think about it, it's a really evenly placed game. I wouldn't be surprised if either side win, but I'm just going to go for the feel-good story. The Raiders at home in front of a sold-out GIO Stadium can get it done and progress to the prelim. Just like that, we're done for the season. Like I said off the top, this is probably going to be the last video I do this year. That may change depending on how well this one goes. Finals videos don't tend to get that many views, which is fair. So thank you again for all the love this season. We will be back in 2026, so keep an eye on the channel. Until then, see you next year.